Why, hello everyone, how's it going? Everyone's been clamoring for a stock market update, and quite frankly, I agree with you. So I'm hanging out at an airport in Washington, D.C. because I'm in one of those funny situations where I'm flying somewhere, I'm in a 4-hour layover, I'm flying somewhere else, and then I'm turning around and driving right back to the airport that I'm sitting at right now. So I have a complete pain in the butt day. Figured I'd do some work and kind of check up on what's going on with all the stocks and look back at some of the videos that we've done over the past few months. So check this out. A video that was done about a month and a half ago with Katrina and I over here. We have a sheet that we go over frequently which discusses certain stocks and target prices that I had for those stocks. After reviewing their financials and also looking at their historical trends. And here on the sheet we had companies like Moderna, Tesla, Schrödinger, Chipotle, Google Alphabet, Intuitive Surgical, which is the option that Katrina owns right now, which is expiring in a couple of weeks, and Walmart, and there's some more that are further down on that list, but I'm just showing you a snapshot of the video here because I wanted to kind of show you what has happened to those stocks. You can see that some of their prices here a month and a half ago were Moderna was at 152, Tesla was at 589, Schrödinger was at 60, Chipotle was at 1342, Alphabet was at 2239. And look at the target prices I had, which really means this is a price where I'm saying if the stock was below this price that you should buy it because it's a good deal, or you should buy an option with a strike price around this number. That's kind of what I'm saying here with my target price. Well, let's take a look at what has happened to all of these stocks in, let's call it the last, 50 days basically, because that's about since that last video was made. Well, let's start out with Moderna. Moderna has gone basically straight up. They've gone straight up. They are well past that $200 strike price. I actually moved that strike price up to $250 after they crossed over $200 real fast. And the reason why Moderna is still a great buy is kind of like the reason that I'm in this airport right now, and I have my mask on me, and I wear my mask most of the time, but we're eating and drinking, so we don't have to wear it right now. And I'm also double vaxxed. I have had my 2 shots of Moderna. And I didn't have a great response to their vaccine. I was kind of down and out for a day or two. It felt like I blocked a hockey slap shot in the arm. It wasn't great. So, but yet I still did it. And I think a lot of people are realizing you still need to do it because it's a whole lot better than getting the virus. And now we have things like variants, which are going to continue to be a problem. This is a global virus, and it's a newer virus, so we are all going to be seeing variants all the time. And the beauty about a company like Moderna, and Pfizer is doing this too, but Moderna really pioneered this, is the way in which they structure the vaccine means that as soon as we identify really lethal variants or even other viruses not related to COVID, but every other virus you can think of that kills people, HIV, whatever, big, huge issues that are flogging down our medical system, when you can molecularly design a vaccine bonding agent or a target, whatever they call it, which is what Moderna can do, you're going to see that we all need to get boosted with these things, and we want to get vaccinated against many different types of viruses because we want to live longer and be healthier. I mean, who doesn't want to suffer things like, you want cervical cancer, or do you want to take a vaccine and not have cervical cancer? It's a pretty easy answer once you realize how you can suffer from the debilitating parts of the disease. So there's a reason why Moderna's gone straight up and why they were my number one stock back then, and I am not surprised that they are shooting their way up, and they will go back up. They will go up past 250, and they'll continue to go up as we realize that globally we have to continue to vaccinate the global public, because just vaccinating one country is not going to solve this. I'm at an airport right now. How many people from different countries have come through Washington National Airport today, some wearing their masks, some taking them off to eat? I mean, I was sitting next to a couple that was coughing on me with their children, and I felt a little bit more secure that I have had a vaccine, because even when you get exposed to something, you're probably not going to end up with hospitalization. This is the future. and I'm not surprised. I don't know why everybody else isn't on board, right? All right, well, so maybe you're not a Moderna fan. Well, what other stocks had I mentioned a month ago? Well, Tesla. Tesla is a more volatile stock, and they have been up in the past month and a half, but they're still not where I think they're going. They're still below 700. They are going to continue to go up as full self-driving information comes out, as they launch the Cybertruck. I have my reservation for the Cybertruck. I'm sitting and waiting. The competitors to Tesla exist, but they're not as good as Tesla. And also the way that Tesla monetizes their products, they're going to have a lot of over the airways updates. It's almost going to be like a software update for your car, which is what they're doing now, but it's going to be much more profitable than you think. And so there's just a million things they're doing, their energy, and just Elon's the smartest person alive, and there's just so many reasons why. So super volatile stock, they can go heavily in either direction any given day, but you stick with them. By the end of the year, I'm not going to guarantee anything can happen, but by the end of the year, they're closer to 1,000 than they are to 600, right? And right now, that puts the median at about 800 in my opinion. So I expect them to be over 800 by the end of the year, probably 1,000 really. But either way, they're still a great buy. Take a look at their options. I'll discuss specific option and call purchases, because here's another thing that's happening. So I had been doing a ton of sports betting algorithm work. I was doing baseball work, predicting baseball games and hockey games. Football season's coming up in September, but I need a break from sports. As there are a handful of you that are interested in the sports algorithms that I do, but it's just not enough. And also, I don't want to be known for gambling, even though we're talking about stocks here. This isn't really gambling as much. This is analyzing companies and analyzing financial statements and analyzing market trends. Sports is analyzing statistics, but things can go any way in any given day. And there's a lot of things you can't control. And I also just don't want to be focused on sports, especially baseball, every single day. So I've just stopped doing it. If somebody wants to turn around and offer me $100,000 to do the MLB algorithm, I'll do it for you for the rest of the year, because I know that the Vegas odd makers, they use it and they contact me, and everything I end up doing ends up being the lines that are offered globally by the odds makers. But the truth is, I just don't want to be known for gambling. I want to be known for curing cancer. I want to be known for providing information to the general public that's beneficial to everyone and not just about sports. So I'm really ditching all the sports stuff, because it's, there's only so much time we have on this earth, and I just don't want to do it anymore. So you're going to see me doing stock videos every day, because I really do enjoy analyzing all these different companies. And I'm going to show you my Excel sheet here in a minute, with all the different companies on the all the different tickers and all the different companies that are on the exchange, using my notes, because I was just astonished when I looked at this. I hadn't opened this up in a few months. I've been doing other things, and I was seeing things like Mettler Toledo International, MTD. I'm saying very interesting, solid financials, life sciences, tools and services. These companies are up tremendous amounts from over the target price that I had. That means that I thought they were a good company months ago, and wow, have they just exploded. And this has happened for so many different companies that we talk about. I mean, let's discuss other ones here. So I mean, almost everything on the list in the videos that I've done over the last several months is up, and it's up significantly. I mean, what else do we talk about? ISRG, right? Intuitive Surgical. Intuitive Surgical was at 800 and change a month and a half ago. I had Katrina buy an option when they were up a little below 900, like 2 or 3 months ago. Her call option is at $1,000. They're going to have a good week or two for her to make money on her option, because they had a downswing about 2 months ago, right after she bought the option right around here, and it went down for a while and hanging out. But now we're getting closer to earnings for them, and their financials were great last quarter, and all the hospitals have opened back up again for elective surgeries. They're a robotic surgery company, robotic surgery. So they're continuing to drive up here before earnings, and they'll probably get to 1,000 right around the time that the earnings come out on July 20th. But it's just nice to see that financials and what the market is supposed to be doing actually kind of plays itself out over time. That's why I like it much more than doing sports algorithms. because time and how we all act in the world and act in the economy, it has an impact on all this right now. And you get to see companies really go up more in value than they would normally because there's so much money and liquidity in the market. You hear terms like inflation is coming. The answer is yeah, inflation is coming a little bit, but it's a different kind of 21st century inflation where we have a lot of smart people that are moving as much money around as they can to try to make as much profit as they can. And that is leading them to utilize the markets, utilize cryptocurrencies, utilize all these different platforms essentially that people can make money. So they're looking for the best companies. Not everybody who invests in the stock market makes a ton of money and picks the right companies. A lot of people I talk to totally disagree with my assessments on things, and they like to invest in more legacy companies. Those companies are not doing as well. It's about future and about technology. That's where everybody wants the returns right now. So that's why the companies that you see I'm mentioning are all arcing upward. At least we're on a good run since the end of tax season, essentially in April and May. So that's kind of why more money is coming to the market now. But even over the last year and stuff, all these companies are up. Like who else do we have in the video that we talked about here? Chipotle, right? Chipotle. Now I really can't invest in Chipotle personally because I know executive at Chipotle and I have too much knowledge of inside information, so I can't really invest in them myself, and I've never purchased anything in Chipotle. But I still thought, look at what we had here. They were at $13.42 a month and a half ago. I said, buy them if they're anywhere below $1,500, and where are they right now? They're at $15.66. Now, when you purchase options in a company like this and they go up $100, $150 a share, that's like $10,000, $15,000 in intrinsic option value. These are expensive options, but that's the kind of thing, that's kind of profit that you're seeing over a couple months with the kind of advice that I give. So there you go. That's one that's done awesome. What else we got in here? Oh, goodness gracious, Google. What did I say about Google? Right? Google down here was hanging out at $22.39 almost 2 months ago. And what are they now? $25.74. That's right. Almost over $3,000. Sorry, over $30,000 in intrinsic option value. That's how much they've increased in the last couple months. Why did I know this was coming? I'll tell you why I know this was coming. Have you been watching YouTube lately? Have you seen more ads coming in on your YouTube lately? Have you seen everyone cutting the cord and switching to other different types of media? If it isn't Netflix, it's going to be YouTube. These things like Peacock and all these other different platforms that everyone's trying to run, they don't have the kind of content that YouTube has, and YouTube is a Google Alphabet product. Not to mention all the information sifting that Google does. You cannot live your life or communicate with other people in the business sphere, in the personal sphere, without somebody having a Gmail address, without somebody using Google Sheets, without somebody watching YouTube. It's a part of our life. And you know what other company is a part of our life that I had on the list? Microsoft. Oh yeah, what happened with Microsoft? My strike price on them was about $250 a month and a half ago, and then they were sitting around $230 or $235. They're at $277. There's another like $5,000 in intrinsic option value went up over the last couple months. Why is that? You can't get away from Microsoft either. You can't do it. You can try with Apple, but Apple is not in everything. Like, for example, a lot of the work that I do in this file that you see here, this is a Microsoft Excel file. Now, what Apple did is Apple took their own versions of Excel, and Microsoft essentially licensed that software to Apple. But if you want the real thing, you've got to use Microsoft. And also you can see that Numbers, I think, is the software program that Apple uses that's trying to be equivalent to Excel. It's just not, it's not as good. It just doesn't work. Like, it's also not what people have been using for decades that have been using this type of system. I mean, this is why I'm able to table all this information and sift through everything, is because of pivot tables and Excel, and that's why we got all these colors here, and things are easy to look at. You can't get away from Microsoft, and that's a reason why they've been doing so well. So, where are we going from here? There's a few more companies I could go through. I don't think there are too many other interesting ones, but Walmart. Walmart has been underperforming on my list. So I had a strike price of $150 on Walmart. They're hanging out at $140. I think that there's a lot of people that are thinking that the pandemic ending and all of us getting out and about is worse for Walmart because they're not one of the only retailers that's open anymore. If you can remember those first few months after in March, April, and May of 2020, we ended up having almost nothing open, right? And so Walmart essentially had to be kind of a resource for everyone. It still is the biggest retailer at the lowest price, and having a Walmart in your city at least defines your city in America. I don't see them having supply issues, so I just think that they're not a really attractive, stock for people to mess around and have options with because they don't move all that much. But they still, look at them over the last 180 days, let's say. Right here, you're still seeing that they've actually kind of flatlined. So in that one, I could say that this one hasn't been one of my better picks, but I still like them. So you're not going to see them drop off the map out of nowhere and completely drop down to 100 or something. That isn't going to happen. They're probably going to stay within these $10 or $15 ranges. And they have so much power that they're trying to kind of, let's talk about Amazon for a second. They're trying to do what Amazon's doing, right? They're trying to work on their web presence. But it's kind of the nature of who Walmart is, that they are a physical location. They're the place, like I have seen people go there and use their monetary services to send money to different people in different parts of the country or overseas. Like, they are a physical base. And Amazon is actually, it's kind of funny. Walmart is kind of trying to become more virtual, and Amazon's trying to become more physical with actual locations. So they're both trying to be the one big one. There's certainly room for the two of them, but Amazon, of course, I also think I was kind of wrong on Amazon a little bit. I did not think that they were going to continue to go up like this. I really thought that something was going to slow them down. I mean, look at them here. They are just out of control. Their stock price is so high, it's difficult to buy options on them because their stock price is such a large. They are one of the largest or highest priced stocks, nominal priced stocks on the exchange is one of them. It's difficult, but you can't stop them. You can't stop them. People just continue to use them. They're not huge when it comes to profitability, but they're just huge when they're coming to like all encompassing, all sweeping and everywhere. So as I dig through their financials, I don't think that they have it in them to keep doing this, but it's kind of at odds with my statement about inflation. Like, everybody who's using Amazon every day, it's one of the drivers about what people use to determine, they think about what stock they're going to get into, is they're like, what am I using every day? What name pops into my head? And the answer is, hey ladies, I know you're all going to Amazon and buying whatever you want. So that kind of drives this, even though their financials aren't necessarily continuing to accrete at a rate that's even sustainable because they're so big. But I still stay away from them at this point. I think they're going to drop back down to like 3,000, but at the same time, I've just watched myself be wrong on them over and over again. And another one is Netflix. Netflix is another one that I did not think was going to keep going up, and look at them go. And then, of course, you know what happened? Katrina forced me to get a Netflix subscription, and I'm watching stuff, and I'm realizing how good they are and how nice it is without commercials. In that sense, they're the anti-YouTube. They don't have ads popping up in your face. They just take $8.99 from you a month. Well, that is working, and their content, it's kind of like when you think about how we, as a community, kind of share the watching experience of all watching a show together. I'm noticing in different friends in different parts of the country that they're all bringing up, hey, did you see the Netflix series this? It's kind of like everybody's got the Netflix now, so you're getting a more narrow sense of whatever Netflix pushes up for you to watch. People are starting to see it back in the old days when there was 5 UHF television channels, and we had no choice but to either watch Carl Sagan doing a Cosmos series on PBS or Monday Night Football with Howard Cosell. There were only a few things to watch, so we all shared that watching experience. Netflix is kind of recreating that, and there you go. I mean, look at that spike upward. And what is that, the last couple weeks, what they announced earnings or something? The answer is I don't know. I haven't dug into their financials or the news lately, which gets me to this sheet and how I'm going to end this video. So, because I'm dropping the sports algorithm stuff completely until football season, because I know you guys are going to demand that I do football. The odds makers are going to hold a gun to my head and demand that I do football. So I will succumb to the mafia and I will give them what they want. But until then, I'm going to work on stocks, and I'm going to do that every single day. Every single day there's market activity, and I'm also going to give you my stock options calls. And I'm still in the boat of nothing but calls. I don't want to short anything right now. We're still riding high on growth and on inflation and on money and on everything kind of filtering up to the companies that are making the world a better place. Because now that we have sane leadership in charge, we are going to be pushing money toward things that help the aggregate of humanity. And that means more Moderna. It means more robotic surgery. It means a whole lot in the healthcare industry. We're going to be throwing a lot of money at the healthcare industry because didn't we decide in 2020 that if we all can't be sure we're not going to die of some secret hidden virus, that we're not going to function normally? I think the whole world made that decision. It wasn't just the United States that locked down. It wasn't just certain European countries that locked down. You know, China was doing their own thing and telling everybody that it was fine, but they were locked down like crazy because in reality, people were getting sick and people were dying. So if we've decided that that is where our priorities lie, then how can we not funnel our money into solving all those problems? So what I'm going to do every day is I'm going to go over all these stocks, everything on the market again, dig through their financials, and update all these notes. Because as you can see, I haven't done anything for a long time. Some of these, I mean, look at everything I put here, and almost every one of these current prices is above my max purchase price. That means everything that I said watch and wrote a positive note on is up from whenever I made this note. I just updated Intuitive Surgical actually today. That's why that's higher right now, but it was at 900 before. Sherwin-Williams has a few supply issues, problems, but they're going to go back up to 300. Don't worry about it. Tesla, of course, like I said. Walmart, I just lowered it to 145 because they haven't been moving that much lately. So, I mean, look at this stuff. It's pretty crazy how, like, everything is over. I actually had this at 3,000 for most of the time. I'll up them to 3,250 just because they're not going anywhere, but I just don't. They're not going to stay above 3,500 for the next month. They'll have to drop below that. They're just too expensive. So I'm going to update that. So I'm going to go through really all their financials because that's kind of where I have an advantage over a lot of other people. Is I've seen so many different financial statements, and I'm just able to read them and find out when things are fishy. Because as long as you can find the fishy stuff, find the stuff where things don't make sense and where people are trying to manipulate their financials to present something that isn't really true, as long as you can identify that, then you're going to be able to look through the honest financials and see companies that are doing well, and then you tie that, do they have solid financials? Are they a reputable company? You can tie that to, do they have, a profitable structure? Like, what are their profit margins on their products? And what can we expect from them in the future? And is there money in the system? And once you start checking off all those questions and all those boxes, you get pretty obvious answers about what to invest in. And that's why the information that I've been able to relate to everyone has been doing so well. So, that being said, here we are. Happy 4th of July. The fireworks coming up for the rest of the summer are going to be stock related, and I have like 3,000 companies to review again. But it's interesting. I mean, oh my God, Target is at 246. Are you kidding me? Look at me, I have them at 110. Oh, that's right. That's like $10,000 plus in intrinsic option value. I wasn't paying attention to any of this. eBay at 70. I gotta sell my Babe Ruth baseball card on eBay. No wonder. Oh my God. Beyond Meat, where you at? 150? Yeah. Makes sense. Lowe's, home builders are all going up. Illumina's at 474 out of 350. Domino's 470. Although Domino's I think was going to go down. Yeah. Look at Microsoft at 230. Bring them back up to 2. Actually, they're really going to go to 300. That's what's going to happen by the end of the year. Electronic Arts. So your video game stocks kind of hit a wall because we're opening back up again. Moderna 250. Moderna. That's what you're going to be at. DraftKings. Look, I had them at 45. You know what DraftKings did? I spent a lot of time on DraftKings betting. I actually won money off DraftKings last month. They better watch out. But I'm not going to be doing much of that anymore because I've got other work to do. So the DraftKings, for example, take a look at what happened to them in the last 60 days. Or 90 days. Let's go 90 days with them. Give it a second. So DraftKings down here, they had a big run. There was this huge excitement, and then they've been dropping off, and why have they been dropping off? They've been dropping off because there's a lot of competitors in this industry. It's difficult to monitor all these games and pay everybody out. People are complaining about odds that are offered, and there's the other thing, which is people kind of get exhausted with this. Like, even though I'm up like $1,200 this month betting, or in June. I haven't really bet anything in July, but in June I was up about $1,200 at the end of the month, and I was disgusted with myself. And and you're like, why? Like, why you're up $1,200? Like, I deposited like $400 in the month and walked out of there with almost $2,000. I think it was like $1,500 at one point, and then lost a little bit in the end of the month. But I ended up disgusted because I was spending all my time like watching baseball games. It's boring. It's frustrating. Like, at least with this, you can kind of analyze stocks and then just make a decision, try to put in an order for an option, and then sit back and wait for months. Like, Katrina and I have been waiting on Intuitive Surgical for a couple months, and she's like, man, Ken, what the hell are you doing? You gave me this option. I bought it. It's almost worth nothing. This is what she was saying. She wasn't really saying that, but I wasn't making money for the last couple months, and she was starting to second guess whether or not my information was good. And then all of a sudden, look at what's happening. And it's predictable because in the long run, people see the solid financials, and they also see what the company is doing. And it's not like the hospitals are all closed now because of COVID. It's not the case. It's everyone's opening up, getting elective surgeries done again. So what's going to happen to the profits of the company that does robotic elective surgeries for people? It's going to go up. So anyway, there's a lot to discuss. I'll be doing more videos like this because I know you want them. I will be meeting up with Rossier, who we have spirited Tesla discussions. We had a video in right outside Scottsdale, Arizona, a few months ago. He was shorting Tesla. I was longing Tesla. We both have lost money on those options because we were too far in our ranges. But we're going to have another discussion probably in the upcoming week about other stocks because he's more of one of those more institutional, older investors, I think, who looks at more established companies and doesn't like to mess around with these companies that are operating at very high price to earnings ratios, and you don't necessarily see a lot of profits out of them right now, but there's a lot of future expectations. So there's a very good balance to kind of go over analysis of different type of companies and which ones to invest in. So we're going to do this because this is more interesting, and it's not really gambling in that sense. It's learning about the world, learning about companies. So good luck, everyone. May all your stocks be winning.